Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Soccer Show here on the 12-ounce Sports Network, Fired Up Network. Before we begin, here's intro of the Soccer Show and some how to get some tickets here.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
The world of soccer, covered here on The Soccer Show, where the Fired Up Network.
Welcome back to the Fired Up Network, 12-ounce Sports Network. Joseph Pasek with the coach, Carmen Asako of York University men and ladies, and former coach or assistant coach of Canada's men's national team and, of course, TFC. But let's get to the Canadians men's national team, all right? You were on here Monday with the Late Night Vampire, and by the way, John Nelson will be joining us. I'm going to try to get him to sing "O Canada," all right? I'm going to try to get him to sing "O Canada." But let's talk about Davies' injury. Now, apparently, Davies' club team is threatening to sue Canadian soccer. Apparently, and why this is out, I don't know. Maybe the agent talked too much or whatever. Davies wasn't feeling good. He shouldn't have played on Sunday. He played, and they were saying, okay, he's going to play 5 minutes. He played. He got injured. They're blaming Canadian soccer. Anyways, anything with Canadian soccer from men, ladies, last few years have been really down in the dumps, except for the teams that play and go to the World Cup and everything like that. Carm, surmise everything here.
I mean, they could. I don't. I would question that threat because they know the process. Been through this thousands of times with different players. So suing CSA is probably it's far fetched. I'm not sure. I didn't hear that report, but he's the captain of our team. He's the captain of Canada. He's made the commitment. He's accepted the commitment. It's FIFA regulations for these players to reveal everything, injuries, everything that's going on, to and basically they'd have to have good reasoning to decline. And I know the staff with Canada, and I know the due diligence and the meticulous detail and the meticulous investigation and caution they take with players. Yeah. So I would be incredibly surprised if the staff and Davies weren't on the same page. For me, it's an unfortunate, massively unfortunate issue. It's a initial reaction to one of the best players in the world, but we've seen it with other best players in the world. When they go with their national team, they pick up injuries. They obviously it's the club that's investing millions and millions, but there's also the national teams, national organizations that invest billions and millions in insurance. So this is all covered. This is all legally binding. All these insinuations from the agent, which he's probably overstepping his bounds, is initial reaction to the we'll call it a tragedy of what happened to Alphonso Davies. And Alphonso's re-signed the contract for Bayern Munich to 2029, so he's okay. He's an incredible professional. He's an incredible leader for Canada. He's an incredible player for Bayern Munich. So these things are going to trump all the ill-timed comments by some people. So he's a soldier for Canada. The body is the body. This could have happened many times. And, Greg Bay and company and Scott Howard and the group and the doctors at CSA are, I would argue top in the world. And they know, and they take meticulous caution when dealing with these issues.
Now, you being formally involved with the Canadian men's national team and all that, if a player, because the agent says the player is doesn't feel right and all that, and the player would have told, and according to him, told Team Canada and everything like that. Now you're part of Team Canada. Has that ever happened to you? And you say, no, no, just we'll give you something, take care of it, or isn't forget about the game or the match, the health of the individual, let alone Davis is the best player in Canada, the health of the individual isn't it number one?
Absolutely, absolutely. Regardless of where you play, regardless of the situation, the health of the individual player is the most important thing. And we put things in perspective. Was this important for Canada? Yes, but will it be as important as the Cup coming or World Cup qualifying in the future? No, and there's no way, there's no doubt in my mind that the Canadian medical staff dealt with this issue properly. And it's an unfortunate incident that could have happened anywhere, any place. And I know Davies knows his body better than anyone else. If he mentioned that there was an issue where he couldn't go, he would never ever be forced to play. And I know, and from what sample size I have of Jesse Marsh, he's excited to get other people involved as well. Alfonso Davies is captain, but as much as he would have never risked injury or his future, whether it was a 6-month injury or a 2-week injury, he would have never risked it. And I think that he was excited to get people involved. Like I think he was excited to see Nico Segura play. I think he was excited to get to make the changes that he did, leaving Eustachio off, giving Choinière a proper run, like those things. And he's played. Remember, Davies wasn't at the last window. He wasn't at the last. So I just it's all counterintuitive. It's all innuendo. It's all the ill crap of social media, because I know for sure that the medical staff, the coaching staff always put their players first.
And Marsh pretty much is the same guy. And speak about Marsh, the next competition that Canada has, he's suspended for one game because got the red card and everything like that. So, do you think that has an effect on Team Canada not having your coach for the next big game?
Well, I mean, again, it didn't have an effect going forward. There's lots of arguments. You heard an incredible argument from Christian Jack why this situation happened, and I think it was a kind of a prelude of what happened, or a reason or a reaction from what happened in the Mexico game without the penalty, not getting the penalty.
Yeah.
So Christian painted the picture that it was Jesse trying to stick up for his players, trying to stick up for his team.
And let's face it, it was. Like, honestly, I don't know because I'm not Jesse, but it was enough. And remember, you were calling me enough with these referees. That should have been, and you, a former coach. So everybody was thinking it. He just stood up. He's the coach. He stood up. He took the blow for his team. Kudos to him. I'm not blaming him for that.
No.
And he should never get a red card for what he did.
Yeah, again, we don't know what was said or what happened. But I mean, is an accumulation of reactions, and referees get together and they study coaches, and they see which coaches have kind of towed the line a little bit too much, and that could be argued that Jesse did. Did he get the reaction he wanted from his group? I think so. Does that have to do with Mauro Biello and his experience with the group? 1,000%. So he's the receiver's respected assistant coach, as is Paul Stalteri, as is Paulo Ciccarelli. There's a relationship and a belief in the staff there as well. And I think that, yes, Jesse made a statement by doing what he did, but I think that the familiarity, the respect that the coaching staff has with the players also resulted in a positive response against the U.S. So I think all those factors considering, and I mean, Jesse Marsh only missing one game, which is going to be fine. The preparation comes way before the game,
Yeah.
although his influence on the bench is big. I think it's going to. I think overall, as Christian Jack eloquently stated, I think it's more of a positive than a negative with everything that's happened and how it's happened, and it wasn't a woes me statement. It wasn't a woes me statement. It was almost like, hey, we do everything to be respected. We work hard to be respected. We've developed great players, and the players themselves have worked hard to get to this level. It's not a woe me statement. It's, hey, you better respect us back. Whether you're an official, you're a referee, whether you're a player on the opposition, you have to respect us back. And it's again, so many times we've heard woe me statements from referees, from other teams and players. That wasn't a woe me statement. That was, hey, we've earned the respect. You got to respect us back.
All right. Final question or final thought on Davies. He's injured. His injury could be 6 months or whatever. We're about 14 months away from the World Cup here in Canada, Mexico, and the U.S., but specifically starting out in Toronto. Do you think it would have an effect of him 14 months down the road, or is that injury? It's okay. Thank God it happened 14 months, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, again, if it's ACL, they didn't say partial, they didn't say full tour. All kinds of situations could happen with ACL. But the kid is a beast, physically a beast. The truth is he could take a week off and play because his strength and his legs are so supportive of that knee. Obviously science and obviously everything else that's considered looks into everything, and unless you're 100%. Obviously, you're not going to be allowed to play without an ACL or a torn ACL. But he's a strong, incredible athlete that will react properly. And they're saying 6 months for an ACL. In today's day, I mean, I've seen it happen with hundreds of female and male athletes. 6 months is fast. So there's obviously a better prognosis if there can be. It's obviously they know what kind of athlete he is, and do I think he'll miss a beat? I've seen Davies work hard, like after training, before training. I think he's the epitome of what professionalism is, and I think that he'll be back stronger.
All right, so now I'm going to switch. I was hoping to get John on here. He's still saying he's going to come just a little bit later, but let's talk about what you do in the United States of Canada, the 13th province. All right, I could say that I'm the president of the province of Canada. So what do you do? How worried are you if you're the United States?
You're very worried. You're very worried. Again, the United States lately has not been great in CONCACAF. Panama, Canada, the loss to Mexico at the last Gold Cup. They kind of squeak by situations, and maybe their players are better suited to defend and counter, or better suited to not have the ball as much. So at the CONCACAF level, you should be worried. And if you want to be that team that dominates, like Pochettino says, you know what? You got dominated against Canada, that's for sure. And if you want to be that team that dominate, you have to have that final action, that finish, that kind of even the presence in the box wasn't as they wasn't as overwhelming as it should be. They maybe they need that maybe Pulisic isn't the star. Maybe Pulisic is the second scorer, or the second the assist guy, or the 10, because trying to play him up the middle. Well, in the first game against Panama they tried, and Aguilera came on and did a good job as a target. Is he of incredible pedigree? I don't know. Playing is he the answer? I don't know. But they don't have a Jonathan David. That's glaringly missing from that group. So yeah, Argentina, you want to dominate in CONCACAF? You know what? You didn't, and you don't, and it's not efficient. But this team may be better suited to World Cup play, playing against European teams, playing at teams that try to do similar things and dominate.
But
Um, yeah,
the other thing is, okay, once they do the draw for the groups, USA could be in the group of death, right? And so it's again, it's a question mark if even they're going to make past the first round or get to the second round. And how disappointing would that be if you're, if you think about Canada, Mexico, and America, that America is not in the second round.
yeah. I mean, it would be surprising not to have all three teams in the second round. I mean, I think the
So are
new
you saying
format.
there's bias refereeing? Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Um, so I mean, you look at the new makeup. I believe it's groups of three.
yeah,
So two go through to a round of 32. Uh, I'm probably right, but I could be wrong.
yeah,
Anyway,
you're right.
yeah. So
Yeah,
group of 32. So it would be surprising, very surprising if the U.S. don't go through and Canada doesn't go through and Mexico don't go through at the least from the CONCACAF region. But group of death and group of this, I think that there's more of a yeah. It's going to be exciting, but when it goes to the round of 32 for sure. But I mean, the U.S. will find a way. U.S. will fix things. But I don't know if the mentality of domination is something that they look like they're going to do, because player for player, Canada's better. And we went through this, and I
yeah,
predicted I think I predicted a 2-1 or a 3-run for Canada.
yeah.
Um, so we went through this, and player for player, they're not as
Deep.
good as they think. That's for sure.
Yeah, and they're not as deep. I think Canada, the roster has a deeper roster than America, and I can't believe I'm saying that. So,
Well,
again,
I mean, I don't know if it's deep. I think bringing players like Rain off the bench, and although do you want a player, or does his ability or
it's by the name. It's Canada has the players on the bench that play. Go in there and give it. They're
exactly?
like you said, USA. They get. I'm not saying anything. I'm going to get in trouble, but it's by the name. It's like Nike shoe or Adidas.
Yeah,
They're
it's
like,
like it's substance
exactly.
versus show. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, Nico Sugar showed substance.
Yeah,
Chouanier showed substance. Those players that came on, even Oliesu, who scored a goal, showed substance. Tani, just substance versus pageantry, versus talking. They just went out and they did what they needed to do.
you just got in soccer, like most other sports, you got to work, and in soccer, you got to work harder to beat your opponents. And I don't know, the last couple of tournaments, USA, oh, we're USA. It's exactly like their president. Okay, I'm just saying. I know we're on 12-ounce sports. We're not in Canada. We're all over the world, but it's exactly like intimidating a bully. A bully. You play USA, it's like a bully. So I'll leave it as that. Hopefully, we'll be joined by John. But Carm, let's get to MLS action. This weekend, tomorrow, BMO Field, we got the Battle of Canada, sort of. Vancouver, Toronto, second home match for Toronto at BMO Field. Are they going to get after Schneid there? Okay, so are they going to finally score more than one goal, maybe even two goals, and hang on for a 2-1 win?
I mean, hopefully the weather holds out. There's all kinds of
Yeah. But
it's
in
just
soccer, that where you play, and according to reports, we're gonna have ice storm, and we're gonna have everything. So who knows if the match will be played? I assume there will be played, and let the match starts. By the way, at 2:30 tomorrow. 2:30 tomorrow. So get there early. Hopefully, the rain and the storm and all that doesn't start till after, let's say 4:30. But Vancouver was great till last week. All right.
yeah. Again, they lost at home to Chicago. The Berhalter story,
Yeah.
Verhalter versus Berhalter. But their best player's not playing.
Yep.
So their best player, Ryan Gould, who's a leader, their captain, he's a massive, massive part of it. And Brian White, who made an appearance against Canada as well, he's still hitting full cylinder. I don't not sure if without a week of preparation or 2 weeks of preparation that he'll be starting. But yeah, there's a lot of question marks. Obviously, Rio scored a nice goal against Chicago. He looked that he's a decent replacement. But right now, they've had a great start. They've had a great start. But having a great start and being great in the middle and the end is two different stories. I think Toronto gets their first win. I think
I,
Toronto
I
gets.
I actually think I just gave it away 2-1 Toronto, so that's what I think.
And who knows what the Insigne situation is, because he was very underwhelming, understandably. You
But
know,
yeah,
he,
what's going on with that guy? Let's talk about that. They
well, he
bring
was
him from.
training with the second team because they were trying to get rid of him. They were trying to move him on, but he made it clear that he didn't want to move on. He's not going to move on. So he put in a decent effort with minimal training. Now, when he gets up to snuff, we'll call it. I think he's gonna be dangerous. He's gonna be a danger and someone you concentrate on. And by him being on the field, it would create more chances for TFC for sure, but limit other players defensively going forward, getting involved in attacks, because sometimes Insigne, by being on the field itself, is defending in itself because he can be so dangerous. Like a Bernardeschi, when you're talking about your defensive transition, you're always worried that, okay, we have to keep 4 back, we have to keep 3 back, we have to mark as we're attacking with Bernardeschi. So it takes away some from your attack, But if you have Insigne and Bernardeschi on the field, then it gets more interesting. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Is he going to stay with that 3-man system, 3-back system? Is he going to make changes? Which he did after there was an injury early on. So we'll see how things work out. But I think that this Toronto team against Vancouver, I think they have a good possibility of getting their first win this year.
All right, and I know you like pink shirts, right? I know you like the pink jerseys and everything like that. Inter Miami, Philadelphia Union in Miami. Some guy Messi still continuing on, scoring incredible goals, leading passes, and everything like that. Do you expect, because this is a good matchup?
Yeah,
Philadelphia is
yeah.
up
I
there.
think it's first and second right now. So
Yeah. So
top
what?
two of the league right now. I mean, Philadelphia finally. Finally. I mean, not that he deserved to be replaced, but moving on from Curtin and kind of finding a new identity in the attack, getting forward more, not being so. I wouldn't. Don't take this on. There's always room for thinking in soccer, but not so cerebral in the defensive approach, and not so cerebral in the attack. They look a little bit more dynamic, Philly, and they're getting the results. They're out beating and outplaying their opponents. But Miami's Miami, and you got Suarez with a little bit of rest. You got Messi with rest, who didn't join Argentina. Um, and you've got players that are getting prepared for the season. Will Messi play against Philly because he didn't go to Argentina? It'll be interesting to see. I would assume so, but we'll see the extent of the injury right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because, like you said, number 1 and number 2 play. If there's any upset with Miami, Philadelphia could do it there. Carmi's still there. Oh, Carm will be back here. He just lost the signal. You're watching the soccer show here on 12 Ounce Sports Network, the Fired Up Network, with Coach Carmen Asako of York University, men and ladies here. And hopefully we'll be joined by Carm and by John Freeman Nelson. But here we go with Carm back. I know he had some technical difficulties, but Carm, let's talk about the other Canadian team, CF Montreal going into Chicago Fire. What do you expect in that match?
Well, new coach Donadell taking over. I think this was in the in Joey Saputo's script. And I think Chicago is finding that level of confidence, that level of Greg Berhalter uh, success, mentality, successful mentality, successful and efficient playing. Like I said, they're coming off a big win against, untied and unbeaten Vancouver. I think Montreal, if they really think that their first manager was an issue, I'm not so sure. They have a limited roster. Let's say that. Where they're going to find goals. Prince Owusu, who we know very well from TFC, is he the most clinical finisher? Not really. They have a lot of good young Canadian players and a lot of players that are going to get their chance, like Saliba and Villisant. These players they're gonna probably come out, and hopefully by the end of the year they're MLS stars. But the group that surrounds it is decent, but not great. Not great. And Sirois is a busy goalkeeper, probably the busiest goalkeeper in the league right now.
All right, one matchup that we haven't talked about yet because they're a new team, but San Diego FC will take on Los Angeles FC. The last game on Saturday, 10:30. Has San Diego impressed you thus far in their matches?
Yeah, absolutely. Beating LA, the MLS champion, in the first game at home for LA, beating them. They've looked the part. They look like a very good, solid, mature team, just like St. Louis was when they first came in the league and they made the playoffs and did well in the playoffs, or did okay in the playoffs. Eventually losing to Kansas City, I believe. But yeah, I think that's the structure that they've built there. I think it's a solid team with a good mix, and they look to be a playoff team for sure. It looks like, but a very mature team, and not one of those teams that was built from from USL groups or built from MLS next players, but built from pedigree players, and players with pedigree played in the Bundesliga and played all over. But I think it's and obviously they have their Mexican international who's just finished playing in Holland, but I think they have a good roster, coached very well, and they've shown that they can not only compete in this league but make a playoff run.
Okay, let's go to other divisions in soccer, the world of soccer. Let's talk about an award you won countless times, the Ballon. All right, Sala, is he starting to fizzle out there, or who would you give the Ballon to?
Well, I mean, the Ballon d'Or is, let's be honest, it's an award of yes, statistics, but it's also an award for visibility. Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi are the two most visible players in the world still, and they still get mentioned. Mo Salah has been fantastic for Liverpool. Again, does the visibility kind of take a back seat when he plays for Egypt? Should it? No. But again, I think the overall, like the favorite right now, if you look at it, might be an Mbappe, because of his visibility, because of his continued success at Real Madrid, and the continuing. But there's definitely other players in that mix to mention. Haaland was, but Man City's terrible season this year, obviously will kind of drag him down. But right now, again, for all those reasons I just gave, I think Mbappe is top of the list.
You mentioned Man City, FA Cup happening. Can they save their troubled season?
Well, I mean, yeah, they have to. They have to. FA Cup is a possibility, but you know what? The reality is people talk about Man City and talk about Man City, but it's a different Man City. It's not the Man City that won the triple, right? They're a different team, players on and off the field. They're a different team. You know, Foden is a different player. Grealish, all these players that are looked upon, and obviously without some of their main players and their injuries that they've been getting, and their captain, it's been very, very difficult for them.
All right, you see this shirt? It's a Spanish shirt. Spain has put in a bid to host the 2035 Ladies World Cup. So, what do you think about that? I know it's 10 years from now, but I think Spain deserves, forget about ladies, men's also. And why doesn't FIFA put 1 year, okay, if Spain or Canada or whatever, you're 1 year a women's World Cup, next year men's World Cup in the same place?
Yeah, well, they usually use that for what was the Confederation Cup, right?
Yeah,
They use
Confederation Cup.
that
Yeah.
as a springboard for preparation for the next World Cup, on the men's side. But that's like places like Spain they already have the infrastructure, they already have all the intangibles to do a great job with that. But yeah, but will Spain get the women's World Cup after the infamous kiss? You
Yeah.
know, and everything that surrounded that, and
So that's why I'm asking you.
yeah, I mean,
Anybody know about Kiss? Never mind. All right, so I think we won't touch about that. But now, how big, for people who don't know, in Canada, this is amazing World Cup, amazing, may never happen for another 50, 60 years, okay? If Canada outperforms the US and Mexico in the World Cup, does that propel our nation? Because look what's going on, Canada, America, trade tariffs and everything like that. Does that propel our or is that bad in the president's eye if we do better than America? It's like, oh, they got to be the 51st state or may, you know what I mean? So take us through your, you live, breathe everything soccer. You're a coach of men and ladies. Take us through how big next year's World Cup, especially in Canada, will be.
well, I mean, any major sporting event is the impetus of bringing cultures and worlds together. That is what soccer does. It brings culture and passion and sacrifice in one stage, and it brings nations together. Whether it's, and I'm talking soccer specifically, but like you go back to the South African and apartheid and the Rugby World Cup. You go back to the Olympics of many years and what it's done to countries. It's divided some, but it's mostly brought countries together. There's so many tragedies and unknowable no moments in this world, whether it's the Ukraine and the Russia situation, whether it's the instability of Trump and threatening places like Greenland. So there's so much instability, but I think that the one thing that people get passionate about and wear their hearts on the sleeves and are affected mostly by is sport, is soccer, is as we
World
see
sport.
example after example how sport brings people together. And that's not only in one country, it's one country plus millions of countries. It brings it all together. And I think that Toronto and not ever having hosted a world event, it's they're going to see a different level of the beautiful game, of what the impact the beautiful game has on not only the sports of the world but the politics of the world. Hopefully it doesn't get overshadowed by the ignorance of other things, but I think that when it comes to this fruition, we will be part of an incredible explosion of passion and explosion of like substance and love and all those things about this sport. It's never ever experienced, and you associate your country, yourself with the country. And, I would say 9 out of 10 Europeans associate themselves, their country, their reality with football, with soccer. Um, you know, I can speak personally. Myself, who I became, I realized my culture when I watched the 1982 World Cup, and and all of it that came with it. So yeah, I
And who
think
won
that
that World
that's
Cup?
sorry.
Who won that World Cup?
Watch Gole. Watch Gole, one of the best soccer documentaries ever.
I know,
Uh,
that's the point I'm saying to you.
yeah,
Like, and that's honestly, we're around the same age, but that is why 1982, I think a lot of people, and then went to, I think, 94 in the US, but a lot of people started focusing more and more on soccer in the 82 World Cup, and then 94 with it being the pomp and circumstance of United States, and now next year US, Canada, Mexico. I think it's going to be the best World Cup of them all. Not because I'm Canadian or whatever. It's like it's an endeavor having three countries there doing a World Cup on its own. Let's hope Canada, Mexico, and the US do something, go further. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Cup, but not out in the first round, right? So let's see if they do something. I think Canada is going to, for the first time, are going to score more than one goal. I think they're going to get out of the first round, and they may be in a round of 16. That's all I'm saying. I think that's what we can hope. That if you penciled it in, you're a former coach, of course you want to win the World Cup, okay? Let's face it. But if you pencil in, if we get out of the first round and maybe make it into round 32 or 16, I think that's all we can hope. The United States want to get probably into the Final Four. Mexico probably also. So let's see if that happens there. And for God's sakes, for people who are going to BMO Field, enjoy TFC, but enjoy the World Cup because you're going to pay $5,000 a seat for it. And let alone, Carm, I'm going to say this. If we're going to go to World Cup, you're driving. There's no way I'm going to drive downtown in front of the world here to go, and parking's going to be like $200. All right, that's all I'm saying. But think of the mess. So whoever's in charge here in Toronto, you better plan out because the world is going to come, and it's going to be frustrating. If you think rush hour on the 401 right now, think about that with people from around the world. Okay, so as we close the soccer show here, talk about your men and ladies teams from York University, and in a couple weeks the CPL starts up here in Canada.
yeah, I think that's an important ending to it. That the Canadian Professional League and all like the questions about Canadian professional soccer, not only in the CPL but even MLS, the what they need right now is support from everybody. Like, yes, it might be a hassle to get downtown Vancouver or downtown Toronto or to near Olympic Stadium in Montreal, but they have to do it to support if they want these professional clubs to be sustainable. And same in CPL, support your local club. So get out there, invest in the players, invest in the team, invest in the community, because it's important. Because all the negativity that's surrounded by, oh, will the CPL be around after the World Cup? Blah 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 blah. That's kind of making me sick to my stomach, because I know what kind of fan support that we have. I know that soccer or football is the most watched sport in Canada still, with everything that we say, and we have an incredible not only past with our multicultural reality, but we have new fans that need to go support the game. And it's still soccer is the most played sport in Canada as well. So we need to translate that and support the professional players to create more professional players, and to understand what this sport is valued. As far as everything's concerned, the sport itself, the passion, the sacrifice, all those things are so important. And that's what we need to do. Support the CPL starting next week. Get out there, enjoy it. Be fanatic. be critical, but be there, and enjoy it.
And like the best person to talk about Davies and Jonathan is you. You built these guys. You from the grassroots level. Go to the CPL. Go watch York United or Forge or anything like that, because those players that you're gonna see them in a year, 2 years in the Canadian national team, in in TFC and MLS and Byron and Spain and everything like that. But they start right here. Uh, 3 years before, they were nobody. Now they're somebody. But look at them, and they're more approachable. If you go to the games, they're more approachable. Hey, Carmen, can I get your autograph? Or Joe, can I get your $5 if you want my autograph? But anyways, they're more approachable when they're playing in the Premier League. Other than they're scripted to if they're in the Canadian men's national team, if they're in TFC and everything like that. But Carm, I'm going to ask you this, okay? We talked about soccer, but I want to show the whole world here on 12 Ounce Sports Fired Up Network that you're also a sports fan. The Blue Jays started their season last night. I called you and I said the Blue Jays are going to lose by 10 runs. The score was 12-2. They lost by 10 runs. What do you expect from the Blue Jays? And when you hear Vlad Guerrero is negotiating a contract that you negotiated back in 1984 for $60 million or $600 million, $60 million a year, what do you think?
We still have to address our pitching, obviously. If Barrios is our starting pitcher right now, I mean.
Well, who would you pick instead?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying just we need a lot of things to address. But it was, game one of the season should be, the best of the best and the most prepared and the kind of fittest and at their best. And Baltimore obviously had a great season last year. It's still 10 runs better than the Jays. So
did you see who was sitting beside Geddy Lee?
No, Geddy Lee.
Yeah, Geddy Lee, who was sitting beside Geddy Lee.
Who?
I won't tell you, but we were singing songs there, right?
Oh,
yeah. All right, and then
subdivisions. Were you jamming to Subdivisions?
Yeah, I was rocking out and to him, and Geddy Lee's gonna have a special announcement in a few weeks. I'll tell you after. All right. So we talked about soccer, baseball, but let's talk about your other team in hockey, losing to the San Jose Sharks in a shootout, not once, but twice this season. Explain.
I can't explain the Leafs. Let's just hope that obviously it's going to be a first round against Tampa or Florida. So it's going to be
right now, if it sits, get a load of this. It's Maple Leafs versus Ottawa.
Really?
Yeah. Who do you think wins that one now?
Yeah, it's a better matchup than what they've had in the past, but things are
evolving. They haven't had a good history next year.
Ottawa. That's for sure. This year.
If you lose to Ottawa, I think you're going to be the coach next year. All right. Any final thoughts, Carm?
No, go out. League One season as well. The league prior to CPL starting in a few weeks as well. So lots of footy, lots of stuff to see. So get out there and enjoy. And all the best to Alphonso Davies in his recovery. And let's hope all the shenanigans that are happening right now go away with all that, because Canada is the national team. It's coach, it's players, it's staff is top class, and there's no question about that. We're only going to get better from there.
I'm going to sing a Tina Turner song now. Simply the best. Yes, simply the best. The coach of the men's and ladies York University team, Carmen Asako, who's saying, bet the house on TFC. If he's wrong, we're blame on John Nelson, who has refused to come on the show because he does not want to sing the Canadian national anthem. Carm, you got to fix that, man. If we got to respect the United States and the president of the United States, Mr. Orange, you got to respect Canada, correct?
Orange. Absolutely. But, Johnny spent a lot of good years here. So I think he knows
Yeah,
Canadian
John's a good guy. That's John
more than
Freeman.
anyone, more than a lot of, us Canadians. So.
All right. So, yeah, keep sucking up to the. You want a job in Atlanta. All right. We all know that. All right. For Carmen Asako, for John Freeman Nelson, this is Joe Pasek bidding you adieu. Have a great weekend. You've been watching The Soccer Show here on 12 Ounce Sports Network.
The world of soccer, covered here on The Soccer Show, where the fired up